One, two, 1, 2.
Yeah, so they actually did that this morning was because I'm like money because we don't have a clear idea of what involved the concerns.
on vote 4. One housekeeping matter, honorable members, I've been advised by our legal advisor that in terms of Rule 37, this is also deemed part of the precinct, and therefore only those persons permitted by the presiding officer will be allowed here. All other be in the gallery upstairs. The MEC for Etia to deliver his report.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Allow me to greet members of the public who might have access to our proceedings, led by, of course, members of the royal family, Izinduna, Amakosi, the chairpersons of the portfolio committees of economic development and environmental affairs, esteemed members of this august house, members of the diplomatic corps who have an interest of what we are doing in our portfolio, our stakeholders, your worships, the mayors and councillors, the head of our department, Dr. Ngosenye Zulu, the CFO, heads of department and senior management, CEOs of public entities, distinguished guests, members of the media. Honorable House Chair, we hold this budget vote while we are still reeling under the dark cloud which overshadows KwaZulu-Natal, occasioned by the tragic and sad loss of our beloved brother, Dr. Ntutuko Mahlaba, who was laid to rest last Saturday. We dip our banners to this beloved son of KwaZulu-Natal and of our country, South Africa. We want from this platform to convey our profound condolences to members of his political party, the African National Congress, and to his family. Economic development cannot wait, and in our province we are moving forward rather with agency and purpose. We present this 2026-2027 budget at a time that demands not just vision, but a relentless focus on implementation and measurable results. This budget is a commitment to the 7th administration's priority of taking the economy to the people and ensuring that growth, opportunity, and development reaches every corner of KwaZulu-Natal. It prioritizes catalytic interventions, it backs rural and township entrepreneurs, it advances industrialization, and positions inclusive growth as the foundation of economic transformation. It is within this context that we present this budget under the theme, I quote, taking the economy to the people, delivering inclusive growth and opportunities across KwaZulu-Natal. House Chairperson, this is not a slogan, but it is a working agenda. It presents our commitment to take the economy to the people, ensuring that the wealth of our province is not confined to the metros, but is felt in the hands of the informal trader in Mandeni, the youth entrepreneur in Nongoma, and the subsistence farmer in Okhatlamba. As part of strengthening governance, we have continued with the integration and streamlining of our public entities, reducing them from 12 to 10 to improve efficiency and eliminate overlapping mandates. While this process has progressed well in several areas, further work remains to ensure that all entities operate with maximum effectiveness. These entities are not mere administrative extensions, but they are delivery arms of economic development. For this reason, 68% of the department's budget is allocated to our public entities to drive investment, to drive industrialization, to drive tourism and inclusive economic growth across KwaZulu-Natal. Let us take a leaf from Global Economic Outlook. House Chair, KwaZulu-Natal's economic outlook is shaped by developments in the global economy. The global economy is expected to grow by around 3%, or 3.3% to be exact, in 2026, reflecting a modest recovery amid continued uncertainty. The global environment remains uncertain because of geopolitical tensions, supply chain disruptions, inflationary pressures, and slower growth across major economies. These developments continue to affect energy prices, investor confidence, trade flows, and export markets on economies such as South Africa. Particularly to export-oriented regions such as KwaZulu-Natal. The consequences are already evident. Higher borrowing costs, weaker household consumption, delayed investment decisions, and slower employment growth across many economies. As a province contributing 16.3% to South Africa's GDP, KwaZulu-Natal must continue strengthening industrialization, expanding export market, and positioning itself competitively within a rapidly changing global economy. Let us now locate our activities within the South African economic context. On the domestic front, the South African economy has entered a phase of stable but fragile recovery. Despite global headwinds, South Africa's economic outlook is improving, supported by a more stable electricity supply, renewed business confidence, and ongoing structural reforms. These improvements provide an opportunity to strengthen economic growth, attract investment, and create jobs. National GDP is projected to grow by 1.6% in 2026, up from 1.4% in 2025. Supported largely by improvements in electricity supply and renewed business confidence as projected in the 2026 budget statement. The stabilization of the national power grid has brought much needed certainty to key sectors such as manufacturing, mining, and logistics after years of severe energy disruptions. However, structural constraints remain deeply entrenched. South Africa's official unemployment stands at 31.9%, while youth unemployment remains alarmingly high at 58.5%. These figures represent one of the most pressing socio-economic challenges facing our country. So in response to these harsh realities, government continues to prioritize infrastructure investment, industrial development, fiscal sustainability, and job creation as key pillars of economic recovery. Recent efforts to strengthen the enforcement of South Africa's immigration laws are expected to bring changes to the provincial economy and labor market. These developments present an opportunity to increase the participation of South Africa or of South Africans in sectors such as the informal economy, township enterprises, retail, agriculture, construction, hospitality, and logistics. Let us now consider the KwaZulu-Natal economic outlook. KwaZulu-Natal remains one of South Africa's most strategic economic provinces, serving as a key logistics gateway for regional and international trade. KZN contributes 16.3% to South Africa's GDP, and KZN must continue strengthening industrialization, expanding export market, and positioning itself competitively within a rapidly changing economy. While at the dominant of the province, accounting for 51% of the provincial GDP, encouraging signs are emerging from several secondary industrial and logistic nodes, including Richards Bay, Newcastle, and other secondary towns. Despite these encouraging growth signals, unemployment remains one of the greatest challenges facing our province, particularly among young people and those in rural communities. So we are intensifying investment in sectors with high employment elasticity, including agro-processing, tourism, manufacturing value chains, and the green economy. By targeting these sectors, we aim to reach at least 2% growth. This is the minimum needed to drive meaningful job creation. To better understand the recent immigration developments, the department will undertake a comprehensive economic impact assessment. This will identify emerging opportunities, assess any adjustment challenges, and inform practical interventions to support local businesses, expand skills development, strengthen township economies, and create more sustainable employment opportunities for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Just a quick review of the 2025-2026 financial year indicates the following achievements and progress. KwaZulu-Natal continues to play a central role in driving industrialization, investment attraction, and job creation in KwaZulu-Natal. For example, during the 2025-26 financial year, Dube Trade Port secured more than 500 million in new private sector investment and generated 521 new jobs, while exports through the precinct exceeded 2.5 billion rand. The Richards Bay IDZ also maintained strong investment momentum with an investment pipeline exceeding 273 billion rand across sticks and related sectors. Secondly, it focuses on the township and rural economy. Our commitment to township and rural economic development, which employs 25% of the total labor force in KwaZulu-Natal, has yielded tangible results. The KZN Informal Economy Master Plan strengthened support for informal businesses through infrastructure development, enterprise support, and market access initiatives. Informal trading activities or facilities completed in municipalities including Msinga, Umvoti, Umdoni, and Alfred Juma have benefited hundreds of traders, the majority of whom are women and youth in Durban. The KZN Bakery Incubators has continued to support emerging township enterprises through technical training and business development, while shared chemical and detergent production facilities in KwaMashu, Kamalake, and Eskaleni have assisted small enterprises with manufacturing support and product development. For example, in February 2026, we launched the KwaMajomela Small Scale Manufacturing Value Add Center in Zululand to support MSMEs in the manufacturing sector, thus advancing our drive to localize value chains and strengthening local economic development. Thirdly, our strategy points us at focusing on economic regulation and transformation. The KwaZulu-Natal Economic Regulatory Authority has shifted its posture from purely compliance-based regulation to market access facilitation. In 2025-26, the authority facilitated more than 4,000 sustainable jobs and supported Black-owned suppliers. We integrated 35 Black-owned SMEs from rural and township areas into mainstream industry supply chains, million rand in new procurement opportunities. We also strengthened the consumer protection measures through the work of the KZN Consumer Tribunal, ensuring greater accountability and compliance within the business sector. Honorable House Chair, it is also important to note KZN Liquor Indaba in 2026, which focused on liquor trading regulation reform, enforcement of compliance, and deliberations on the KZN Liquor Licensing Amendment Bill 2024. Fourthly, our strategy emphasizes enterprise support. Because supporting small businesses and expanding access to economic opportunities remains central to our inclusive growth agenda. For example, the Tala Development Finance Corporation, the IDFC, continued to provide financial and business support to Black-owned enterprises, youth-owned businesses, and women-owned enterprises across KwaZulu-Natal. Additional investments in property developments and enterprise support initiatives contributed to business expansion, infrastructure upgrades, and job creation across multiple sectors of the provincial economy. Fifthly, it drives innovation hubs and digital centers. That is our strategy. So in the outgoing year, the department continued to strengthen KZN's innovation ecosystem and expansion of innovation infrastructure across rural and township communities. Innovation hubs, with a combined investment of approximately 2.4 million rand established in areas including Kandla, Mkhuze, and Bofana, are improving access to digital skills, incubation support, and entrepreneurial development opportunities for young people. Through the Moses Kotane Research Institute, MKRI, the department also facilitated the implementation of a MISETA-funded smart laboratory at the Durban University of Technology, TUT. This facility enhances technical training, capacity, and supports the development of industry-relevant digital and engineering skills, thus strengthening the province's innovation and skills development ecosystem. Our strategy also centers on investment attraction, export promotion, and Chairperson, this positions our province as a competitive destination for investment, and trade remains central to our economic growth strategy. KZN is well positioned to benefit from expanding regional and global trade opportunities through the African Continental Free Trade Area and growing economic cooperation between South Africa and China. These partnerships will strengthen exports, attract investments, support industrialization, and unlock new opportunities for manufacturing, agro-processing, logistics, and job creation across the province. Building on the success of the 2024 and 2025 KwaZulu-Natal investment conferences, the secured combined investment commitment valued at more than 185 billion rand, with the potential to create over 140,000 jobs. Moved into implementation, demonstrating growing investor confidence in the provincial economy. Key completed projects include Toyota South Africa's motor vehicle production upgrade and modernization program, the fire appliances infrastructure and equipment modernization, and Natal Portland Cement's plant expansion. Additional developments such as phases of the West Town Shongweni project and the Umdoni Point Coastal Forest Estate. Another major investment in property and tourism is the completed Club Med Resort at Tinley Manor, due to officially open in July 26. Actually, it could have opened already. To strengthen investor support and improve ease of doing business, the department also expanded the district one-stop shop program across several districts in the province. These include Umgungundlovu, Herikwala, Umzinyathi, Lembe, Ugum, Kanyagute, the Richards Bay, ITZ, and Dube Trade Port. It also promotes, our strategy also promotes tourism development. During the 2025-26 financial year, a total of 35 international and domestic events were hosted, including Africa's Travel Indaba, the Comrades Marathon, and many business conferences, generating an economic impact of over 195 million rand. This underscores that tourism remains a key pillar of KwaZulu-Natal's economic growth and job creation agenda. The province continues to leverage major events such as Africa's Travel Indaba and the Comrades Marathon and the Amashova Durban Classic, among others, to drive visitor numbers, investment, and local economic activity. In 2026, Africa Travel Indaba generated an estimated 835 million economic impact, attracted nearly 10,000 delegates, achieved 97% hotel occupancy, and supported over 1,100 jobs across the tourism value chain. With KwaZulu-Natal securing the hosting rights for the Indaba until 2030, the province is well positioned to strengthen its position as a leading tourism and business events destination while expanding opportunities for local businesses and communities. In addition, KwaZulu-Natal Tourism and Film Authority, KZN TAFA, and the department continued investing in tourism infrastructure, enterprise development, and skills programs to improve the competitiveness and sustainability of the sector while supporting the development of skilled professionals for the tourism and film industries. KwaZulu-Natal remains as one of South Africa's leading tourism and business events destination, and I'm proud to announce that this very province will host Auto Week in October 2026. And as we continue driving investment-led growth, industrial expansion, and job creation across the province, economic transformation must continue hands together. Another of our activities, environmental management and nature. A significant milestone, 8% decrease in rhino poaching cases in the province, dropping from 232 mortalities in 2024 to 97 in 2025, supported by the strengthened conservation, ranger support, and law enforcement interventions. We also established the traditional healers pharmacy at Hluhluwe Imfolozi Park, providing regulated access to medicinal plants while discouraging illegal harvesting of protected species. Environmental programs also created employment opportunities through ecosystem restoration and land rehabilitation projects across several districts. In addition, the province advanced initiatives within the waste economy to promote environmental sustainability while unlocking new economic opportunities. While large-scale investment and industrialization remain essential to economic growth, our ultimate objective is to ensure that economic opportunities reach communities, townships, rural areas, women, youth, and emerging entrepreneurs throughout the province of KwaZulu-Natal. All these activities, Honorable House Chair, are driven through the KwaZulu-Natal Inclusive Growth Strategy. During the 2026 financial year, we started with a new economic blueprint for KwaZulu-Natal, the Inclusive Growth Strategy, which was recently adopted by the KwaZulu-Natal Executive Council and formulated through the Economic Sector Investment and Employment Infrastructure Development Cluster. This is anchored on infrastructure-led and industrial-driven economic growth with a strong focus on investment attraction, job creation, industrialization, and regional economic development. Key sectors identified under this strategy for accelerated growth include manufacturing, tourism, agriculture, infrastructure development, technology, the oceans or blue economy, renewable energy, and the cultural and creative industries. Central to this strategy is the commitment to ensuring that township, rural, and informal economies also become active participants in the mainstream economy of KwaZulu-Natal. Now, coming to spatial economic development, the province is implementing targeted interventions in key secondary cities, including Richards Bay, Newcastle, Pietermaritzburg, Ladysmith, Kokstad, Vryheid, and Pongola, and other such cities. I'm happy to announce that the development of secondary cities is already underway, with Richards Bay serving as a prime example, following proclamations by the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy designating Richards Bay as the host of the Eskom gas-to-power project. The Richards Bay IDZ has now an investment pipeline exceeding 242 billion rand, largely driven by energy-related initiatives. This positions Richards Bay as South Africa's emerging energy hub. In support of the secondary cities program, the department is finalizing the development of the provincial spatial economic development strategy, which will serve as a blueprint to identify catalytic projects and targeted investment in these secondary cities and other small towns throughout the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Let us look, for example, at the industrialization, logistics, and special economic zones. Industrialization remains central to our strategy for economic growth, job creation, and addressing youth unemployment, the youth unemployment crisis. In the 2026-27 financial year, we will continue positioning Dube Tradeport as a future-ready economic hub through strategic infrastructure investments, including industrial facilities, energy, new infrastructure, and logistics expansion. At Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone, several major projects in manufacturing, energy, and mineral beneficiation are progressing towards implementation, reinforcing Richards Bay's position as an emerging energy and industrial hub. Wilma Processing SA, a 2.2 billion investment, is expected to be fully operational in 2026-27 financial year. Construction will begin on Nyanza Lights Metals titanium plant, valued at 749 million rand. Together, these projects are expected to generate over 2,000 direct jobs over the next 2 years. When we look at infrastructure development, Honorable House Chair, we realize that infrastructure development remains one of the key drivers of economic growth in our province, as well as industrial expansion and long-term investment in the 7th administration. So, working with national and provincial partners, we will continue supporting that improving logistics, strengthening transport connectivity, and unlocking industrial strategy, improvements in freight and logistics infrastructure, and advocacy for high-speed rail connectivity between Durban and Johannesburg, which we announced a year or two ago as a transformative project which is expected to catalyze regional economic integration, stimulate investment along the corridor, and expand labor mobility. We are also investing in regional airport infrastructure, industrial facilities, and agro-processing initiatives in order to strengthen regional economic development and to improve investment readiness across the province. In Zululand, for example, the Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi Airport will receive 700,000 for electrical and navigation rehabilitation following the vital repairs already conducted on terminal facilities. In Mkanyagute, we have allocated 2.8 million rand for an aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle at Mkuza Airport to move towards CAT4 compliance. In King Kejwayo District, we have allocated 1.15 million for the refurbishment of the Richards Bay ARFF. In addition, we are working closely with the City of Umhlatuze municipality to assist them in their plan to develop an entirely new airport to better serve the major industrial developments announced for Richards Bay. Our industrial interventions also extend to sector-specific support. For example, we have budgeted 3 million rand for the operationalization of the Matateni Clothing and Textile IEH incubator in Namajuba district. The Fresh Produce Agri-Hub within Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone, which we run in partnership with the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, will further strengthen agro-processing capacity and agricultural value chains within the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Through the township and rural economies revitalization strategies, which we call TRES, we are taking the economy to the people through the implementation of the township and rural economies revitalization strategy. The department will continue investing in informal trading infrastructure, township enterprise development, and small business support across several districts. These interventions include development of trading facilities, market infrastructure, and manufacturing support programs aimed at strengthening local economic participation and improving opportunities for small enterprises. The Municipal Employment Initiative, MEI, which showed much success in the previous financial year, will in 2026-27 continue to support 7 additional projects, including Johannes, Pumani, Pungula Municipality, Kokstad, Bofana, Richmond, Kandla, Mtonjaneni, and Umfolozi, with a total value of 6.25 million rand. Through strategic partnerships, we will also support township business with digital tools, market access, and bulk buying support in order to improve sustainability and competitiveness. We have budgeted 11 million rand for shared manufacturing facilities, for chemicals and detergents, expanding our successful model to reach more small enterprises across the province. In Durban, for example, we have allocated 5 million rand in order to continue the KZN Bakery Incubators mentorship and skills development programs. We are also advancing opportunities within the cannabis and hemp sector through targeted support for processing, investment promotion, and market development initiatives. An allocated budget of 2 million rand is going towards the KZN Cannabis Hemp Export to promote research, investment, and market access for indigenous growers. In the digital and creative economy, programs supporting music, business process, outsourcing, and innovation-driven enterprises will continue creating opportunities for our young people, creatives, and entrepreneurs across the province. So through these interventions, we aim to strengthen transformation, to stimulate local production, and expand participation in the mainstream economy. Coming to cultural heritage tourism, we reckon that tourism remains one of the key drivers of economic growth and job creation in KwaZulu-Natal, and we continue to position this sector as a strategic pillar of provincial development. In the 2026-27 financial year, the department will conduct tourism projects aimed at regional tourism opportunities and strengthening local economy. The Zululand district, we have allocated 4 million rand for the implementation and refurbishment of the Thokazi Royal Lodge and 2 million rand for the Somkhanda Game Reserve. In Mkhanyabuti, 1.5 million rand has been allocated for the upgrade of the hilltop camp, which is within our Ezamvelo, KZN. We are also fast-tracking the auxiliary studies for the Drakensberg cable car in Utukela district, which has an allocation of 2.5 million rand. We are also investing in tourism, entrepreneurship, skills development, and service excellence programs in order to strengthen the competitiveness of the sector and create opportunities for young people. The development of an integrated culture, heritage, investment, and tourism strategy will further strengthen KwaZulu-Natal's position as a globally competitive tourism and an investment destination. In addition, the Enyokeni Dome and Precinct will be converted to continue to be positioned as a strategic cultural and tourism asset, which is capable of driving tourism growth and supporting local economic development. Of course, this we will do in collaboration with local municipalities and other local players within the heritage tourism sphere. Environmental stewardship, climate resilience, and biodiversity management, Honorable House Chair, and environmental sustainability and economic development must continue to advance hand in hand. In the 2026-27 financial year, the department will continue investing in programs that protect biodiversity, that strengthen climate resilience, and create economic opportunities within the green economy. Through our invasive alien species program, supported by an allocation of 64.4 million rand, we will create 2,248 EPW job opportunities while restoring and protecting critical ecosystems across the province. We will also continue supporting climate adaptation initiatives, environmental management programs, and waste economy interventions aimed at building more resilient communities. These interventions, and many others that I can enumerate, complement or reaffirm our commitment to protecting our natural heritage while unlocking sustainable economic opportunities to the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Coming now to, I will just do a cursory drive across our public entities. For example, the KwaZulu-Natal Growth Fund is pivotal in advancing broad-based Black economic empowerment through large-scale infrastructure and manufacturing projects. In the coming year, the agency will support several high-impact projects, which include Matateni Distribution Center in Amajuba District to the tune of 70.8 million rand, project finance for 100% Black female-owned full-service distribution center, which is expected to create 37 direct and 155 indirect jobs. In Ndwedwe, we'll be opening a new mall within the Ilembe district, facilitated by the Growth Fund to the tune of 71.1 million rand for a greenfields rural development of a multi-tenanted shopping center expected to create over 100 temporary and 190 indirect jobs. Jozini Retail Center in Mkhanyabuti district, 55 million rand will be deployed to finance the development of a new retail hub, creating 83 permanent jobs in this rural area. Mobile hemp processing at King Kajau district, 22.6 million rand for a startup agro-processing business in Mpangeni, the first mobile hemp processing company of its kind in the country. IDFC, I've referred to it, but it suffices to say that it will continue to serve as our flagship developmental finance platform. ITALASOC, which has been the talk of town for several years, remains an important institution in our efforts to expand access to development finance and support economic participation across urban, township, and rural communities. Beyond the setbacks that ITALASOC has encountered, our focus remains to ensure that ITALASOC is repositioned to fulfill its developmental mandate and continue transformation and inclusive growth in KwaZulu-Natal. Turnaround strategy is being worked upon to remodel ITALASOC into a new, vibrant, agile banking institution of choice for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Once a suitable strategic partner has been found to help us secure a fully-fledged banking license that will not constrain its future activities within KwaZulu-Natal. KZN ERA is a critical revenue generator for the province, and we target a total collection of 765 million rand in tax revenue for 2026 to 2027. The authority will also facilitate 5,800 new job opportunities through sector expansion and licensing. We will launch a fully integrated digital licensing portal to reduce administrative red tape and prioritize youth and rural entrepreneurs. Trade and investment KwaZulu-Natal remains our lead and export promotion. We have budgeted 1.5 million rand for KZN Exporter Competitiveness Program and 800,000 for outbound export promotion mission to seek new markets for our SMMEs. Through targeted investment promotion initiatives and the expansion of district one-stop shops, TIKZN will continue strengthening investor support and improving the ease of doing business across the province. The Moses Kotane Research Institute continues with intelligence innovation, which supports all that we are doing, which is evidence-based developmental state that we are focusing in promoting. For example, we have allocated to them 1.5 million rand, not billion, for innovative technology support. So we will also invest 1 million rand in undergraduate bursaries in order which will be transferred to the MKRI to build a pipeline of technical talent. House Chairperson, let me now, before my time expires and if I go over a bit, allow me to query from what remains of my minutes in my response time. Let me go to the budget in detail before I do the acknowledgements. The budget that we have received, which has been allocated to us, budget which is totaling 3.8 billion rand, 3.877 billion rand is allocated as follows. For administration, 385 million rand. Integrated economic development services, 375 million rand. For trade and industry development, just over 1 billion rand. Business regulation governments, 250 million rand. Economic planning, 55 million rand. Tourism development, 415 million rand. Environmental management, it takes a large portion of 1.377 billion rand. That constitutes the entire budget allocation that has been allocated by this august House and Legislature to us. Allow me to express my sincere appreciation to the support that the Honorable Premier continues to give me and my department and other colleagues in the executive, and for the leadership and guidance and unwavering commitment in order to build a resilient, inclusive, and prosperous province. Without that support, it would be impossible for us to continue doing what we are doing. My gratitude also goes to the head of department, Dr. Ngosenye Zulu, senior management officials of the department, and our public entities for their dedication and commitment to implementing our mandate. I also want to acknowledge the support, more especially that we as the department get from our two portfolio committees. We have a very good working relationship. I always emphasize that we in the department do not have a monopoly of wisdom to do that which needs to be done. And so we are interdependent so we accept constructive criticism as contributing to making us better, and we listen carefully, as we will be listening carefully to your interventions today, hoping that you will support our budget, because it is for the benefit of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. We are not perfect, but we are striving to be perfect. I also wish to further acknowledge our social partners in business, civil society, and traditional leadership, whose continued collaboration remains essential to advancing economic growth, investment transformation, and job creation. Finally, to the business community, I want to say thank you for your continued support, for investment, confidence in our province. Your commitment to innovation, growth, and social responsibility helps us to drive our economy forward. So together, let us continue to work collaboratively to build a resilient, inclusive, and prosperous KwaZulu-Natal for generations to come.
Thank you, MEC. We acceded to your request by nodding to allow you time to conclude your speech, but we will take the time out of 48 seconds from your time at the end. Having said that, we will move on to the Chairperson of Economic Development and Tourism on vote 4, the Honorable MD Sangweni. If you can come.
Thank you. Honorable House Chair, honorable members of this House, honorable MEC, the executive management led by the HOD, I am honored to have this opportunity to present 2026-2027 budget report for Portfolio Committee of Economic Development and Tourism Portfolio Committee. Honorable House Chair, maybe let me also start where most members of this House have started, by paying tribute to Honorable Chair of Committees, Honorable Ntuthuko Godfrey Bedlamadoda Mahlaba. I've worked with him for over 15 years, having been elected with him as the chairperson, while he was elected as the chairperson of the ANC Youth League, and I was elected the secretary. When he was elected the chair of the region, I was in the REC and I was made the regional spokesperson. Again, when he was elected as a provincial treasurer of the ANC, I was elected the PEC, PWC, and the spokesperson. We served together in his house. He executed meticulously. For that, we dip our revolutionary banner in honor of his spirit. and we send our heartfelt condolences to his family and to Mbutho Wabantu, the African National Congress. Honorable House Chair, today as we present this report, we'd like to firstly take the House through the processes that indeed on the 9th of December 2005, the committee held a stakeholder engagement in line with the mandate of Section 118 that demanded that we do so. The department indeed in that date presented, and I must singularly House Chair highlight that as a portfolio committee, we thank the MEC Unondaba for having been present in that meeting and taking its time to take the community and the stakeholders through the processes of that budget and the department. As the community, we have considered and indeed satisfied ourselves that both the APP and the budget of the department were indeed aligned. They were also in line with the NDP and the PGDP of the province. On the 12th of June, the committee attended the Financial Committee for a hearing of this particular budget in the Financial Committee. We have noted that the department has about 6 programs. Program 1, which is administration, program 2, which is integrated economic development, program 3, which is trade and sector development, program 4, which is business regulation, program 5, which is economic planning, and program 6, which is township development. Honorable House Chair, on strategic priorities that we have seen, we have noted and we have accepted as a committee, and we are pleased that the department have focused on trade expansion, export growth and investment promotion, development of key sectors such as manufacturing, tourism, agro-processing, green economy and digital economy, strengthening environmental sustainability and climate resistance program, and enhancing oversight over public entities and improving operational sufficiency. Honorable Chair, we note as a committee that tourism has become but the anchor of our economy. It has registered the highest growth, but on top of that, it has been labor intensive. We note that also the department view infrastructural development and industrialization as long-term economic transformation. And indeed, we support that. Honorable Chair, we will not bore the House much about economic context. I think the MEC have already highlighted and dealt with that. Honorable Chair, we note as a committee that the department, in the main, present a budget where 60% of the budget is transferred to entities. As a committee, this then gives us a single new responsibility, which we have now then adopted as a committee and undertaken to be our will regularly monitor even entities. To announce that we have already started to call all entities, we say in the committee, we follow the money. So if 65% of the finances of the department and the department is only to 35%, we must then be able to comprehensively follow that and monitor that. Honorable House Chair, in considering the budget, the House voted, and with 6 members voting in favor and 4 members voting against. The committee welcomed the department APP and budget as a framework for promoting economic recovery and growth in KwaZulu-Natal, while underscoring the need for stronger alignment to improve governance on public entities, enhance job creation strategy, and sustain oversight to ensure measurable impact. The committee will continue to focus on monitoring implementation progress and socio-economic impact of key projects, particularly from state entities. In conclusion, therefore, the committee would like to take this opportunity and thank the MEC, Honorable Musa Zondi Nondaba, for comprehensive budget policy statement and his willingness to account to the committee whenever humanly possible. We further take this opportunity to thank all members of the committee, irrespective of their political affiliation, for having handled this particular process of budget with political maturity during the consideration of budget vote number 4. Siyabonga. We also appreciate the HOD, Dr. N.G. Zulu, Isthuli Skandaba, and his senior management of the department and the entities for their understanding during the robust deliberation. I also extend my gratitude to the support that we continuously receive from the Portfolio Committee, from the staff of the legislature that assist and guide us. Honorable House Chair, I thank you.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Sangweni for his contribution. We now call upon the Honorable Piensitoli Moloi.
Honorable House Chair, greetings to you, greetings to the MEC and the department leader officials. Firstly, we are standing here, Honorable Chair, having lost one of our member of the committee, the Chair of Chairs, Honorable Dr. Mahlaba. It's with that pain that we are here presenting our report, but he was part of the presentation of the report. We really feel not feeling well, but Honorable Sangweni has put forth the condolences and how we feel about it. It's yes, a new thing, and we have not anticipated that today we'll be debating without him being part of our debate. We are presenting the report of Conservation and Environmental Affairs Portfolio Committee on the budget of 2026-27 and annual plan for environmental affairs function that is falling on the Department of Economic Development, Tourism, Environmental Affairs. House Chair, Honorable House Chair, honorable members of the House, Honorable MEC, Reverend M. Zondi, and other members of the executive who may be present in the meeting. I'm honored to present the committee report on the 2026-27 annual performance plan and budget for environmental affairs, Program 7 and its entity, Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife. Submission of the information and usefulness thereof, the full electronic report of the final 2026-27 APP and budget for the department and entity were sent timelessly for the portfolio committee and the support staff to be able to analyze these reports and brief the honorable members before the actual budget session with the department and the entity. In line with Section 118 of the Constitution, which requires the Parliament and the Provincial Legislature to facilitate public involvement, the Portfolio Committee held its stakeholder engagement session on the 27th January 2026 at Peace Initiative Hall in Ikopo under Herigwala District. The purpose of the stakeholder engagement session Department Ezemvelo KZN draft 2020 APP and budget for the public and the relevant stakeholders to solicit their input. The Portfolio Committee was pleased with the presence of the executive management of the Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs led by the HOD Dr. Zulu and the executive management of Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife led by the CEO, Mr. Mkhize. The draft of 2026-27 APP and the budget were unpacked to the public and stakeholders. It was, however, deeply regrettable that that there were no comments or input from the public and stakeholders, which resulted into the Portfolio Committee resolving that the Legislature Public Participation Unit must update its database for all stakeholders of the environmental affairs in all districts to ensure the relevant targeted audience are invited to participate. Analysis of the 2026-27 APP and budget. The House Chair, the Portfolio Committee held its budget hearing on the 23rd of June 2026. Before this hearing, the committee was invited to attend the hearing of the Finance Portfolio Committee, where the department and SMVelo presented their budget on the 12th of June 2026 and also on the 23rd of June 2026 respectively. The committee noted and appreciated that departments 2026-27 APP and budget are aligned to the National Development Plan and provincial priorities. For the 26-27 Program 7 Environmental Affairs is allocated 1.3 billion for the baseline increase and the baseline increase over the MTEF. In the 2026-27 budget, maintain the department commitment to environmental stability, sustainability, as it continues to include for evasion alien species program, for supporting recycling enterprises, and allocations for projects aimed at reducing the vulnerability of key sectors to climate change. Additionally, the budget continues to finance public engagement through hosting school environmental educational programs and community cleanup campaigns. Department further reported that alongside these ongoing initiatives, 2026 and 2027 budget will prioritize critical modernization to infrastructural and environmental oversight by developing standards for small forestry plantation, as well as developing a virtual serve-based geographic information system database. The Portfolio Committee will continue to engage the department on these developments during the financial year. The committee noted that the bulk of the budget of ATI is given to SMVelo. This means that the substantial portion of the budget is targeted to spend at the entity level. Portfolio Committee also invited the entity to present the budget and its APP. Honorable House Chair, the committee analyzed the APP, highlights the need to shift from activity-based to impactive-based monitoring, improve data reliability, balance resource allocation, and more transparent, regular reporting. Addressing these issues, we will strengthen the effectiveness of oversight and ensure that environmental management objectives are met. SMVelo tabled a budget of 1.1 billion, which comprise of its own generated revenue from sales of goods and services, and the allocation from the department, which includes the subsidy and specifically appropriated funds for certain projects such as invasive alien species program and township and rural economies revitalization strategy. House Chair, the amount that is given to entity is 960 and 46 million remains a primary funding source, contributing to approximately 80% of entity's total budget. The committee also noted the concern that financial impact of the commercialization strategy has not been factored in, and we also want to ensure that they will do that so that they get more funds through commercialization strategy and release some funds for further maintenance of the infrastructure in their. In summary, House Chair, the committee has not solid attempt of the entity. We 6 members of the committee, 2 from IFP, 2 from ANC, and 2 from DA, supported the 2026 budget and APP. Only 4 that did not, from the AP, did not support the budget and the APP. And 1 member was absent from the EFF. We supported the budget as the committee. We are presenting this report to before you, Honorable Chair. In conclusion, the Portfolio Committee welcomed the 2026-27 APP, and the budget for the department demonstrates the commitment to build climate resilience, environmental sustainability, and economical inclusive in KwaZulu-Natal. Portfolio Committee also reaffirmed its commitment to constitutional mandate for playing an oversight role over the department and the entity with a view to ensure the protection and preservation of environment. I would like to thank the members of the Portfolio Committee for their cooperation and commitment to the work of this committee. I would also like to extend our appreciation to the Portfolio Committee support staff and Treasury to ensure that the members are adequately supported to robustly engage the department and entity. As I conclude, I want to express our gratitude to the Honorable MEC M. Zondi, Head of Department for ETIA, SMVeloC Board and the CEO. Would like to say thank you very much for the cooperation and the willingness to account to the committee. Honorable Chair, I want to present the report of the Conservation and Environmental Affairs report. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Sithole Moloi for being spot on time. We will now call upon the Honorable TJ Mabaso of the MK Party for 8 minutes.
Thank you, Chairperson. Greetings to yourself, MEC, honorable members of Umkhonto wesizwe present, Sotswebhu, Ngiyabingelela. Umkhonto wesizwe rejects the budget vote with contempt it deserves. This is a budget rewards bureaucracy instead of economic transformation and protect political comfort of creating opportunities for ordinary citizens. On the eve of the elections, the three IFP MECs went on unlawful shopping spree by bypassing all required processes. The Department of Economic Development breached Section 43 of PFMA, which caps violence to 8% for accounting officers by authorizing over 100% despite flagrant violation. No officials have faced consequence management. Honorable Chair, at the time when unemployment in our province stands at alarming 31.7, with youth unemployment exceeding 60%, one would have expected department-driven agency, innovation, and measurable interventions. Instead, we are presented with another annual performance plan full of aspirations, but painfully short of convincing implementations. The department has prioritized 6 programs. These programs sound impressive on paper, but lived reality of our people tells completely different story. If these programs were delivering meaningful outcome, why does unemployment continue to rise? Why are thousands of young graduates still sitting at home without work? Why are townships and rural enterprise struggling to access markets, finance, and government procurement opportunities? Honorable Chair, the fiscal discipline cannot be made only from struggling citizens, while government appears comfortable with questionable spending priorities. Government leaders should not be demonstrating restraint, not creating the perception that luxury purchases take precedence over service delivery. Honorable Chair, the committee itself identified key challenges, including unemployment, skills, mismatches, weak industrial competencies, and government's failures. The department cannot continue success by activities completed, meeting held, and report produced. Success must be measured by job created, business sustained, investment secured, communities who lives has been transformed. The people of KwaZulu do not need another strategic framework. They need factories reopened. They need thriving industrial parks. They need agricultural value chains that benefit emerging farmers. They need tourism that reaches communities. They need township economies and are genuinely supported. They need government that spend public money example. Honorable Chair, boldness required to confront the economic crisis facing our province. It fails to convince that governance failures will be decisively addressed. It fails to demonstrate that the government understands the desperation of unemployed young people. Honorable Chair, we know that the department has allocated 55 million for economic planning, 409 million for tourism in 26-27. Financial year will transfer 2,459 billion to its entities, representing 65% of total departmental budget. This leaves 35% of the budget under the direct control of the department. Under the control of the department to deliver on its target outputs and outcomes. This raises an important question as to how will the department ensure that value for money when the majority of its budget transferred to entities. Propose solutions, strengthen oversight and accountability, link funding to performance, improve monitoring and valuation, reduce wasteful expenditure, support local economic development, increase transparency. The department speaks about expanding trade, increase attracting oversight, investment not because of glossy presentation and conferences, follows constantly, competent government, infrastructure, energy, security and government that inspires confidence. The department speaks proudly developing manufacturing, tourism, agro-processing, the green economy and digital economy. Yet these sectors continue to underperform because the government has failed to remove the structural barriers facing businesses. Small enterprises are buried under red tape while investors continue to question whether KwaZulu is serious about becoming a competitive investment destination. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the Honorable Mavaso for his contribution. Order, Honorable Members, order. Order, Honorable Zuma, order, please. You know there is a parliamentary tradition, if the Honorable Members observe, the next time you are in the House, you will see there's a cabinet with swords. There is a reason why they are there. The space between the Honorable Members should be at least 2 sword lengths so you don't kill each other. So please be mindful of Rule 75(1), the gestures and so on that are between members so that we maintain order. We'll keep the previous ruling of the Honorable Speaker with regards to the Honorable S. Ban Prakash, who will be allowed to speak from his seat. Over to you, Honorable Member, for 9 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Greetings to yourself. Greetings to the Honorable MEC and all members present. Before I begin, let me as well pay tribute to our Honorable colleague Mashlaba, who served with distinction. May his soul rest in eternal peace. The budget before this House reflects our constitutional obligation to safeguard every citizen's right to an environment that is not harmful to their health and well-being. It also reinforces our collective responsibility to preserve KwaZulu-Natal's rich natural heritage for future generations. Environmental protection is not merely a constitutional imperative, it is an investment in sustainable development, public health, and economic resilience. The department carries the important responsibility of protecting biodiversity, conserving our natural resources, and ensuring that economic growth proceeds in harmony with environmental sustainability. At the outset, the IFP, as a constructive partner within the Government of Provincial Unity, commends the Honorable MEC for the leadership demonstrated in advancing the department's mandate despite fiscal constraints. We acknowledge the progress achieved and ensure the MEC that our continued support where service delivery is strengthened. Equally, where shortcomings remain, we will continue to exercise active oversight, governance. We welcome the department's allocation increasing over the medium-term framework, together with the increase in environmental affairs baseline and the expanded works program integrated grant. These allocations must translate into measurable outcomes, efficient implementation, and meaningful improvements in the lives of our people of KwaZulu-Natal. Our most pressing challenges confronting the province remains the continued pollution of our rivers through untreated sewage discharged by municipalities. This threatens biodiversity, marine ecosystems, tourism, agriculture, and most importantly, public health. Municipalities that repeatedly neglect sewage infrastructure cannot continue to evade their constitutional responsibilities. Stronger intergovernmental cooperation and decisive enforcement are essential to protect our rivers, wetlands, catchment areas, which remain indispensable to our province's long-term water security. The allocation of 1.179 billion rand to Esemvelo Wildlife demonstrate the government's commitment to conservation. While this investment is welcome, we remain concerned that aging operational vehicles continue to compromise employee safety and limit operational effectiveness. Clear timelines must therefore be provided for fleet renewal. Equally concerning is the entity's inability to finance critical infrastructure projects and fill vacant posts. While alternative funding initiatives are being explored, the House deserves greater clarity regarding implementation plans and timelines. Strengthening governance and operational efficiency will ensure that conservation objectives are achieved sustainably. Environmental crimes remain a serious threat. The low number of completed investigations referred is concerning, particularly as illegal sand mining continues to devastate our rivers and ecosystems. Those responsible must face the full might of the law. Greater collaboration between environmental authorities, law enforcement agencies, and national prosecuting authority, supported by modern technologies such as drones and satellite monitoring, will significantly strengthen enforcement. We commend the department for creating 7,725 work opportunities through environmental public employment programs. Environmental protection should never be viewed as an obstacle to economic growth. Rather, it presents an opportunity to expand ecotourism, recycling industries, and biodiversity enterprises that generates sustainable employment while protecting our natural assets. The department is further commended for its investment in air quality management, recycling initiatives, environmental education, cleanup campaigns, and the Maloti-Drakensberg Transfrontier project, the refurbishment of Hilltop Camp. However, communities living alongside protected areas must experience tangible benefits from conservation. Human-wildlife conflict remains a significant concern. Boundary fences must be properly maintained, preventative measures strengthened, and fair compensation mechanisms implemented for affected communities. Air pollution continues to threaten health of many families, particularly households that rely on wood and coal energy. The department must intensify awareness while working collaboratively with other spheres of government to promote cleaner and more affordable energy alternatives. Companies that violate environmental legislation or engage in illegal dumping must face severe penalties. Strong environmental legislation requires equally strong enforcement if it is to inspire public confidence. Waste management remains another significant challenge. The IFP believes that waste should be recognized as an economic resource capable of creating sustainable employment, particularly for young people. Therefore, support youth-driven innovation is important. Public education promoting the principles of reducing, uh, recycling, reusing must remain a sustained priority, supported by partnerships between government and traditional leadership, businesses, civil society, and local communities. The fight against rhino poaching must remain uncompromising. We support possible between officials and organized while urging our courts to impose sentences that reflect the KwaZulu-Natal has experienced devastating floods that have claimed many lives, and have destroyed infrastructure. We therefore welcome the province's commitment to strengthening climate adaptation, disaster preparedness, and early warning systems. However, greater investment is required to improve municipal readiness and ensure that timely warnings reach rural and vulnerable communities. Invasive alien species continue to threaten biodiversity, water security, and agriculture productivity. Eradication programs must therefore be intensified to safeguard the natural resources upon which economic growth depends. The government of provincial unity presents an opportunity to place interest of our people above partisan politics. Environmental protection is one area that cooperation must always prevail over division. The IFP believes that meaningful progress has been made under the leadership of the Honorable MEC. While we commend the department for these achievements, at the same time, we encourage greater urgency in addressing the remaining challenges. Through accountable governance, effective implementation, and constructive oversight, we can build a cleaner, greener, and a more resilient KwaZulu-Natal. I thank you.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Ban Prakash. We now call upon the Honorable BM Zuma of the ANC for 6 minutes. Honorable Zuma, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. The 2026-27 budget is presented against an improved national economic outlook, lower inflation, greater macroeconomic stability, improved energy availability, and the sustained infrastructure investment have created a strong foundation for the province to attract investment and stimulate growth. These gains did not happen by chance. They are the product of a deliberate policy choices under the ANC-led national administration. The KwaZulu-Natal remain one of the South African's strategic economic gateway. Our ports, logistic corridors, manufacturing-based, and tourism assets position this province to drive industrialization, expand exports, and create employment. It is therefore encouraging that this budget continues to prioritize investment promotion, industrial development, tourism growth, and support township and rural and informal economies. Millions dedicated to trade and sector development to drive industrialization and investment, millions dedicated to tourism development and allocated to integrated economic development services to strengthen township and the rural economies, as well as economic planning to improve evidence-based development. These allocations demonstrate that the industrial development, investment promotion, and tourism remain central pillar of economic recovery. However, budget must ultimately be judged by implementation. Investment announcement must must become factories. Infrastructure projects must become jobs. Support programs must become sustainable enterprises. Communities are expected measurable outcomes, not mere expenditure. We therefore welcome the department's restructuring of its program to strengthen alignment between the APP and the budget, as well as its adoption of a zero-based budgeting approach, which improve financial discipline and accountabilities. These reforms must be matched by stronger implementation and improved performance. We also commend the continued work of entities such as Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone pipeline as potential to strengthen the industrialization, attract new investors, and stimulate local economic activity. The challenge before us is to accelerate implementation so that these investments translate into local procurement, manufacturing opportunities, and permanent employment for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. The ANC has consistently argued that the economic growth without transformation is incomplete. We therefore reaffirm our commitment to localization, support for SMMEs, cooperatives, Black industrialists, women-owned and youth-owned enterprises as a central pillar of inclusive growth. We also recognize the strategic importance of Itala development, finance cooperation in advancing financial inclusion and supporting emerging enterprises. At the same time, public confidence in Itala depends on strong governance and financial. Under ANC Chairperson Honorable Sangweni, the Portfolio Committee has thoroughly interrogated this budget, monitored the departmental entities, questioned budget prioritization, scrutinized the funding of Itala, and demanded accountability for the performance of the public entities. Honorable Chairperson, the investment promotion, tourism development, industrialization must produce measurable outcomes in employment, economic inclusion, and service delivery. This is the standard against which this department will be measured and assessed. The true measure of vote for is not the size of the budget, but it will be how we deliver instead of continue with the feasibility studies, jobs instead of promises. We think the department is capable to deliver, and as the Portfolio Committee will be monitoring the implementation of the promised and the projects that were, the promises that were outlined here. The ANC support this budget. Honorable Chairperson, thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Zuma. We then call upon the Honorable Sikhakhane from the MK for 8 minutes.
Honorable Chair, firstly, let me pass my condolences to Dr. Mahlaba and greetings to the members of CHIP and honorable members, on behalf of Umkhonto Wesizwe Party, I rise to deliberate on the 26-27 annual performance plan and budget of the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environment Affairs. At the outset, we acknowledge that the department has aligned its plan with the National Development Plan and provincial priorities. We also note as reflected in the chairperson report, that the committee was satisfied with this alignment and commended the department for the restructuring its program to improve coherence between planning and budget. We further acknowledge improve administration performance, including clean audit and a reported 86% performance in the previous quarters. However, Honorable Chairperson, central questions remains: are these plans improving the lives of the people of KwaZulu-Natal? Because government is not measured by alignment and compliance, but by impact. Honorable Chair, both the department and the portfolio committee economic crisis. The chairperson report confirms that unemployment sits at approximately 31.7%, with youth unemployment at 60.8%. Figures that mirror the lived reality in our committees. This is not just an economic change, it is a social emergency. While the department speaks of economic recovery, trade expansion and sector development in areas such as manufacturing, tourism, and digital economy, the pace of change is far too slow to meet that scale of the crisis. Economic growth of just 0.4% in the province illustrates that our economy is stagnating, not transforming. We are told that 16,000 small businesses were supported and just over 3,000 jobs were created. But honorable members, these figures must be wired against the millions who remain unemployed. Even the portfolio committee itself raised concern about the need for stronger and more ambitious job creation. This confirms that we have been saying the current intervention are too small to change the trajectory of our honorable chair. Department has allocated approximately 2.459 billion, or about 65% of its 3.775 billion budget to transfer to public entities. While these entities play an important role, this raises a fundamental concern. How does the department ensure impact when most of the budget is outsourced? This concern is compounded by a governance challenge. The committee itself highlighted persistent issues in entities such as Italy, including leadership instability and financial pressure, even required reprioritization of funds. Honorable Chair, this is not a minor issue. It speaks directly to the risk of efficiency, weak oversight, and poor return on public funds. The committee has rightly committed to apply a follow-up demand oversight approach and focus on the socio-economic impact of these transfers. But oversight alone is not enough if the model itself is flawed. We must ask, where is the direct, visible, on-the-ground intervention by the department? Honorable Chair, even the committee acknowledges challenges such as regulatory barriers that hinder business development, limited infrastructure investment, and the persistent inequality in opportunity. These are not abstract issues. They are the daily reality of small business in township and rural areas. While, while tourism identified as a key driver of economic recovery, and rightly so, the benefits of this sector are not yet reaching the majority of our people, particularly the youth, women, and person with disability. This reflects deeper problem. We have strategies, but not sufficient inclusion. We have plans, but not enough scale. Honorable Chair, committee also noted the structural challenges such as skills mismatch and weak industrial competitive. This must be addressed urgently if we are to unlock meaningful growth and employment. Equal concern is the issue of declining limited targets in certain areas of the APP, including training, enterprise development at a time when we need acceleration. We are seeing signs of contraction. Honorable Chair, we must be honest. The APP is technically sound. The budget is properly structured. The oversight mechanisms are in place, but the transformative impact is still missing. Even the committee, in its conclusion, emphasized the need for improved government, stronger job creation strategies, and measured socio-economic impact. This is where we must focus. As Umkhonto a party, we therefore for the following: it is a decisive shift towards investment to unlock growth and job creation, expanded and meaningful subject to MSMEs.
Honorable Member, your time is up. Thank you very much. Honorable Member, your time is up.
Thank you.
We then call upon the Honorable H.S. Lidget of the Democratic Alliance for 12 minutes. Honorable Lidget, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. And good afternoon to the honorable members, to the MEC HOD. I would like to, at the outset, just extend my deepest condolences on behalf of the Democratic Alliance in the passing of. He was a valuable member of our committee, and he sorely missed, including his very wise contributions. In 2005, KwaZulu-Natal attracted approximately 11.6 million domestic visitors and 1.6 million international visitors, establishing itself as South Africa's leading domestic tourism destination. Together, these visitors contributed an estimated 20.7 billion to our provincial economy. While tourism has undoubtedly...
Honorable Lidget, I'm just going to stop you for a moment. Honorable, just stop the clock. Honorable De Boer, I'm going to refer you to Rule 54 in terms of using electronic devices. The Speaker has prohibited what you're doing now. So in all fairness, you cannot continue to video the proceedings. You can carry on.
Thank you. While tourism has undoubtedly recovered to some extent post-COVID-19, our current performance simply does not even hold a candle to what KwaZulu-Natal achieved during the 2000s. In fact, international inbound travel has declined by 63.3%. There was a time when busloads of tourists, international, would travel along our coastline and through our natural reserves. Today, many of these destinations instead feel like veritable ghost towns. This raises an important question. What firm commitments has the eThekwini Presidential Working Group in conjunction with ETIA made towards the repair of the wastewater treatment plants that continue to discharge thousands of liters of sewage into our rivers and prize beaches? KwaZulu-Natal has lost blue flag status at several beaches. This is not simply an environmental issue, it has become an economic crisis. If we are serious about getting KwaZulu-Natal's economy working again, restoring our coastline must be treated as a top priority. Tourism creates employment across accommodation, transport, restaurants, retail, conservation, and small business. We possess a world-class tourism asset, yet we are allowing it to lie fallow. Wastewater infrastructure is only part of the problem, though. Crime, urban degradation, grime, refuse, and deteriorating public spaces are also major red flags. Visitors will not return to Durban and the broader province if they fear being robbed, cannot swim safely with their families at our beaches, or find the city dirty and derelict. I'm also concerned that 100 million has been reprioritized to bail out Itala Bank. And of this, 3 million has reportedly been removed from the Tourism KwaZulu-Natal budget. In a province where tourism is a lifeline to many communities, every spare cent must be guarded jealously. There must be serious consequence management for those responsible for the deterioration of Itala Bank. The public deserve answers. Investigations into the conduct and decisions of the board and senior management must be concluded without unnecessary delay, and the findings must be made public. Indeed, we welcome the department's decision to suspend the CEO pending investigation. We must still, though, understand how the institution was allowed to reach this point. Who was responsible and what safeguards will be implemented to ensure that this never happens again. Now, turning to job creation. In a province where the expanded unemployment rate is 43%, and where 6 out of 10 young people are unemployed, we can't leave any stone unturned in getting our citizens. Manufacturing is under severe pressure in KwaZulu-Natal, despite the enormous potential that exists. Whilst we cannot ignore the impact of geopolitical conflicts on the sector, there are also unfavorable local conditions that underlie the decline. To attract investors back, the fundamentals must work. Roads must be maintained. Businesses need a reliable supply of water and electricity. Refuse must be collected, and municipal approvals must be processed efficiently. Investors cannot operate in an environment of failing infrastructure and administrative uncertainty. KwaZulu-Natal should study the more deliberate investment promotion model being implemented in the Western Cape. And let us be proactive, especially when so much opportunity lies in the green economy. In the DA-led Western Cape, the Atlantis Special Economic Zone has been positioned as a dedicated hub for green technology manufacturing. It's supported by targeted incentives, infrastructure, and coordinated promotion. Westgrow, the official tourism promotion agency for Cape Town and the Western Cape, aggressively, actively positions the province internationally and directs investors towards specific sectors and economic hubs. Through its growth for job strategy, the Western Cape has set very clear ambitions to substantially increase tourism and exports by 2035. KwaZulu-Natal needs the same level of laser-like focus, coordination, and measurable ambition. We have considerable potential in wind energy, biomass, and green manufacturing. Biomass can turn agricultural, plant, and animal waste into energy and fuel, creating value from materials that would otherwise be discarded. The province also has enormous potential when it comes to agro-processing. Rather than exporting raw agricultural products and allowing the value to be added elsewhere, we should be developing local processing facilities, local supply chains, and local markets. The Bergville Agro Processing Initiative is commendable and provides a very useful example of what can be achieved. However, isolated projects will not transform the provincial economy. Successful models must indeed be urgently expanded and replicated across the province. Cannabis and industrial hemp also represent potentially a multi-billion rand industry. Hemp can be used in construction materials, textiles, food products, oils, pharmaceuticals, animal feed, and biocomposites. However, farmers cannot succeed if they are encouraged to grow raw materials without nearby processing facilities, the access to markets, regulatory certainty, or affordable financing. KwaZulu-Natal should establish dedicated processing hubs and develop the full value chain from cultivation and research to manufacturing and export. Done properly, this sector has the potential to create thousands of jobs, particularly in hard-hit rural areas. Now, turning to some of our greatest natural assets, I welcome the progress being made by Ezemvelo KZN Wildlife in pursuing public-private partnerships. However, this process direly needs to be escalated. Ezemvelo must remain focused on its core conservation mandate, while suitably qualified private partners help ensure that the tourism facilities are operated, marketed, and maintained to world-class standards. Too many resorts, lodges, and visitors' facilities have just deteriorated past the point where occupancy levels have now declined. While the maintenance budget has indeed increased, unfortunately, it remains below the approximately 6% of asset value generally required for sustainable maintenance. This then creates a destructive cycle. Ezemvelo argues that it does not have sufficient revenue to maintain its facilities, yet when facilities are poorly maintained, visitors stay away and occupancy declines, and therefore owner revenue falls even further. This vicious cycle indeed needs to be broken. I also wish to congratulate the intelligence services, Ezemvelo, and the South African Police Service for their cooperation in preventing a recent suspected poaching incident near the Shihlui-Imfolozi Park, although any loss of life is indeed deeply regrettable. This successful intervention demonstrates the importance of intelligence-led conservation efforts. It also shows why KwaZulu-Natal cannot afford to take its foot off the accelerator when it comes to anti-poaching operations. Turning to the elephant population in Shihlui-Imfolozi Park, the province needs to carefully examine how the current situation developed and what management failures contributed to the overpopulation. Elephants are highly intelligent and sentient animals. Culling cannot become the routine response to years of inadequate planning or delayed population management. The department and Ezemvelo must present a transparent, scientifically grounded, and ethically defensible long-term elephant management strategy. This should consider habitat capacity, contraception, ecological impacts, and indeed regional cooperation. We must experience and make sure it. Finally, climate change poses an escalating risk to our province and to our infrastructure, agriculture, our coastline, water security, tourism industry, and our communities. This department shares aspects of its climate change mandate with the Office of the Premier, but the central challenge is now coordination and accountability. ETIA currently only has a small number of climate-related performance indicators. These indicators, though, appear fragmented and do not clearly form part of a comprehensive provincial climate change strategy. The province must explain whether it has adequately budgeted for the responsibilities imposed by the Climate Change Act. Where responsibilities are shared between departments, the respective roles must be clearly defined. The budget must show which institution is responsible for implementation, how funding has been allocated, and what measurable outcomes are expected. In addition, we need clear timelines on the province's 6 air quality monitoring stations in terms of the operationality. Without reliable data, we cannot identify tourism hotspots, protect vulnerable communities, or enforce air quality laws. So, not meet our commitments in the Climate Change Act either. If you can't read your data, you can't manage the air quality. Now, to acknowledge that KwaZulu-Natal has extraordinary assets, but potential alone does not create jobs. we can once again become a leading tourism destination. We must not be afraid to learn from our counterparts, including the huge success story of how West Grow has been leveraged to position the Western Cape as Africa's prime destination. Let us build on the success of this model and take the GPU to new heights. I thank you.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Legit for the contribution. We have an apology from the EFF from the Honorable M.W. Twala. So we will move on to the next Honorable Member from the MK, the Honorable SPG Mbata, for 10 minutes, sir.
Chairperson, MEC Nondaba, HOD Mntwana, members of the committee, and the House at large. Leadership is ultimately an act of stewardship. Dr. Ntuthuko Junda Mahlaba has now laid down his earthly responsibilities, leaving the living with the sacred duty of safeguarding the values he served, continuing the work he began, and ensuring that his legacy endures beyond his lifetime. May he rest in eternal peace. Hamba kahle qhawe. Namuhla sihlalo ngisukuma hayi njengelunga lomkhonto wesizwe kuphela. Ngisukuma njengomlondolozi wethemba labantu bakwaZulu-Natal. Ngoba ngikholelwa ukuthi umsebenzi womshaya imithetho awukhona ukuvikela uhulumeni. Umsebenzi womshaya imithetho ukuvikela abantu. Uma sivikela abantu siyobe siuvikela nomthetho sisekelo. Chairperson, ngihlale ngisho ukuthi angikali uhulumeni ngalokho akuthembisayo. Ngimkala ngalokho akukhiqizayo. That is the standard by which we must judge every budget that comes before this house. Isabelo mali asisona nje isabelo semali. Siyisivumelane sokwethembana phakathi kwahulumeni nabantu. Uma lesi sivumelwano siphulwa akulahleki imali kuphela. Kulahleka ithemba, kulahleka ukuthenjwa, kulahleka ikusasa. Honorable Chairperson, the greatest challenge facing KwaZulu-Natal is not the absence of potential, it is the absence of transformation. Sinomhlaba ovundile, sinezindawo ezinhle zokuvakasha, sinentsha enobukhali noma ihlakaniphile, sinabantu abasebenza kanzima. Kodwa uma yonke lento noma uma yonke lo ngcebo ingakwazi ukuguqulwa ibe imisebenzi, khona ke kufanele sibe nesibindi sokuthi inkinga ayikho kubantu, inkinga isezinhlelweni zokubusa. Ingakho thina njengomkhonto wesizwe sithi umnotho kumele usebenzele abantu. Abantu akumele basebenzele umnotho. Sihlalo sekuyisikhathi sokuba siyeke ukujabulela imibiko emihle uma abantu behlala ebubheni. Abantu bakithi abasafuna ukuzwa ukuthi izinto zihamba kahle emaphepheni. Bafuna ukubona emakhaya abo kukuhle. Ngoba abantu abadla ama-reports. Abantu abadla umsebenzi. Abantu badla umsebenzi. Abantu badla amathuba. Abantu badla ngihlale ngisho ukuthi abuyiseli isithunzi kubantu awona umnotho. Uhlelo lokubala imali. Economic development must never become an accounting exercise. Its purpose is to restore dignity through productive work. Umuntu osebenzayo akatholi iholo kuphela. Ubuyisela ukuzethemba. Ubuyisela isithunzi. Asilahla isithunzi sabantu ingabe sibiza abalondolozi. Ukubuyisela indawo yakhe emphakathini. Somlomo njengeqembu lomkhonto wesizwe asiphikiseli ukuphikisa. Siphikisa ukuze sakhe. Siphikisa ngoba abantu basithumele lapha ukuba sibuze imibuzo enzima. Ngoba umbuzo onzima namuhla ugwema inhlekelele kusasa. Ngifuna ukusho lokhu kuhulumeni wobumbano lesifundazwe. Government does not fail because they make mistakes. Government fails because they refuse to learn from their mistakes. Futhi ngakho ngithi, correction repairs yesterday, prevention protects tomorrow. Yilo kufanele kube yisiko lokuphatha. Uma uhlelo lwehluleka akumele sigcine ngokululungisa. Kumele sililungise ngendlela yokuthi lungeke luphinde lwehluleke. Ngoba ukuphinda iphutha elifanayo akusilona iphutha. Sewukwehluleka kwesibili. Honorable Chair, ukubusa kahle akusho ukuthi uhulumeni uyakwazi ukuphendula uma sekukhona inkinga. Ukubusa kahle kusho ukuthi uhulumeni wakha izinhlelo ezivimbela izinkinga zingakaveli. Ukuthembeka kohulumeni koqala khona. Public not only on correcting mistakes but on preventing them again. Lokhu kufanele kube yisifungo salo hulumeni. Sihlalo intsha yakithi ayicela umusa ifuna amathuba. Osomabhizinisi bethu abacela ukuzwelwa, bafuna imarket. Abalimi bethu abafuna izethembiso, bafuna ukwesekwa okubonakalayo. Umnotho oqinile awakhiwe ngokuncika kwabanye, wakhiwa ngokuthemba izandla, ubuhlakani namandla abantu bakithi. Kumele sakhe, kumele sikhiqize, kumele senze inani kulokho esinakho. Kumele sakhe izimboni, kumele sivule amathuba ezindaweni zasemakhaya. Kumele ama-township abe yizikhungo zokukhiqiza, hayi izindawo zokudayisa kuphela. A province that consumes more than it produces mortgages its future. Asikwazi ukwakha ikusasa ngokungenisa yonke into bese sithumela amathuba ethu kwamanye amazwe. Sihlalo, ngifuna ukukhuluma ngobuholi. Ubuholi abukhonjwa ngezinkulumo, bukhonjwa ngemiphumela. Ubuholi abukhonjwa ngezinhlelo, bukhonjwa ngezimpilo eziguqukile. Ubuholi abukhonjwa ngenani lemali esetshenzisiwe, bukhonjwa ngenani labantu abasuke ebubheni bazimele. Yilokho okumele kube yisilinganiso salohulumeni. Ngoba abantu bakithi abasadingi ukuphathwa ngobuchule bokubhala imibiko. Badinga ukuphathwa ngobuholi obuguqula izimpilo zabo. Sihlalo ngifisa ukuyala ngale nkulumo. Ngikholelwa ukuthi umsebenzi womshayi mthetho awukhona ukuba ngumbukeli noma ngumbeki bomlando. Umsebenzi wethu ukubhala umlando. History will never ask how many reports we've adopted. History will never ask how many speeches we've delivered. History will ask one question: did our people live better because we stood in this house? Uma impendulo ithi cha, siyobe sihlulekile sonke. Ngakho njengomkhonto sizwe sizohlala sime eqinisweni, sizophakamisa izwi labangazwakali, sizobuza imibuzo abantu abasaba ukuyibuza, sizovikela imali zomphakathi, sizolwela umnotho ubuyisele kubantu nesithunzi sabo. Ngoba phela esihlalo umlando awukhumbuli labo ababekhuluma kakhulu, umlando ukhumbula labo ababenesibindi sokwenza. Isizwe asakhiwa ngamazwi, sakhiwa izinqumo ezinesibindi, sakhiwa ubuqotho obungathengiswa, sakhiwa ubuholi obungesabu ukwenza okulungile ukuze abantu baphile. Sihlalo i-APP esifundile isinikeza u-83% ukuthi izinto zihamba kahle. Kodwa umbuzo umile ukuthi ngoba ihamba kahle lezi zinto lezi, abantu lapha on the ground ngabe bona izimpilo zabo zishintshile yini? Namuhla sihlalo sinenkinga yokuthi umnotho waKwaZulu-Natal lesibiza nge-township economy ukuze kube manje usezandleni zabamhlophe. Zabokufika abaseSomalia. Na uma sikhuluma ukuthi siguqula impilo zabantu, siguqula kanjani? Sithini kulabantu okufanele njalo ekseni avuka ayothenga isinkwa angasiwona se-South Africa? Yiphi njengamalungu esishamthetho asiguquli lutho, kodwa into esenziyo sibeka ama-report amahle acobezelayo. Kodwa abantu on the ground, they are suffering. Abantu on the ground, they are hungry. Abantu on the ground, abantu abasha, but desperate. Ingako abayoyinikela kuma-drugs ngoba awekho amathuba omsebenzi. Le department, umsebenzi wawo omkhulu, ukwakha amathuba omsebenzi ukuze abantu abasha bazoyiqhenya bayiqhatshe ngekusasa labo. Ngiyabonga.
Order, honorable members, order. Honorable members, let's calm down. The Honorable Shinga of the NFP for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Presiding Officer, Honorable Dr. Kika, MEC Nondaba of the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs, other MECs, chairpersons who presented the reports just now, Honorable Sangweni and Honorable Bongistole Moloi, honorable members. Today, on behalf of the National Freedom Party, I present the debate in support of Budget Vote 4 because this department sits at the center of KwaZulu-Natal's economic future. When we speak about economic development, tourism, environmental affairs, we are not merely debating another departmental budget. We are debating whether our province has the courage to grow, the capacity to compete, and the determination to create opportunities for every citizen. This department is, in many respects, the engine room of provincial development. It is the department that attracts investment. It is the department that supports businesses. It is the department that grows tourism. It is the department that creates an environment where jobs can exist. Without a strong ATIA, our plans for reducing unemployment remain aspirations rather than realities. Honorable Chairperson, the National Freedom Party recognizes that this department carries one of the greatest responsibilities within the provincial government. Its success is not measured merely by the number of policies adopted or meetings convened. It is measured by the number of businesses established, the amount of investment attracted, the number of tourists who choose KwaZulu-Natal, the factories that open their doors, and ultimately the jobs that are created for our people. The people of this province judge government by outcomes, not intentions. They judge us by whether they can earn a decent living, support their families, and look to the future with hope rather than uncertainty. For that reason, we commend the Honorable MEC for continuing efforts to position KwaZulu-Natal as an attractive destination for investment and for recognizing the sustainable economic growth cannot be achieved by government acting alone. It requires partnership with business, investors, labor, communities, and institutions of higher learning. Honorable Chairperson, the Portfolio Committee correctly notes that the department has prioritized 6 strategic programs focusing on integrated economic development, trade and sector development, business regulation, economic planning, and tourism development. These priorities are aligned with both National Department Plan and the Provincial Growth and Development Plan. The committee further reminds us that KwaZulu-Natal contributes approximately 16% of South Africa's gross domestic product, yet continues to face persistently a high unemployment, particularly among young people, alongside skill shortages, governance challenges, and growing global competition. Those realities should concern every member of this House. Every province in South Africa is competing for investment. Every province wants manufacturing plants. Every province wants international tourists. Every province wants export markets. KwaZulu-Natal can afford merely to participate in that competition, but we must lead it. Our province possesses some of the country's greatest strategic advantages. We are home to Africa's busiest seaport, internationally recognized tourism destinations, rich agricultural potential, established manufacturing sectors, and a youthful population that is eager to participate in the economy. The question before us is whether we are unlocking that potential quickly enough. Economic growth means very little if it does not translate into jobs. Investment means very little if it never reaches rural communities. Development means very little if young graduates continue sitting at home waiting for opportunities. Youth unemployment remains one of the greatest threats facing our democracy. When young people remain excluded from meaningful economic activities, frustration grows. Communities lose hope, crime increases, substance abuse becomes more prevalent, families remain trapped in poverty. Every investment secured by this department must therefore be viewed not only as an economic achievement, but as social intervention. Chairperson, the Portfolio Committee has also highlighted the need for stronger job creation targets, improved governance, and stronger oversight of the department's public entities. In those comments, Chair, I support this budget vote for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Honorable CM Shinga of the NFP, MEC for Social Development. We now call upon the Honorable SM Kize of the ANC for 6 minutes with the concurrence of the whips present at the time. This list was changed, so if you have another list, then this is the list that has been effected. Thank you very much. Honorable Kize, you may proceed for 6 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and greetings to you, Honorable MEC, Honorable Chair, Sithole Muloi, Honorable Chair Sangweni, Honorable Chairperson and members. Before I engage this budget, allow me to honor a revolutionary voice, whose voice would have been in this house at this very moment, carrying not only the convictions of his beloved movement, but also the hopes of the people. He said humility, quite strength, and unwavering. Honorable Dr. Ntutugo Mahlaba did not simply serve on the Portfolio Committee on Conservation and Environmental Affairs. He understood that environmental stewardship was inseparable from social justice, sustainable development, and the well-being of our people. Only weeks before his untimely passing, he presented this legislature at the Parliamentary Roundtable on Climate Change and Green Economic Governance, where he reminded us that climate governance is not the responsibility of the government alone, but a shared responsibility between the states, communities, civil society, and every citizen. He challenged us to ensure that climate resilience is built through meaningful public participation, accountable governance, and inclusive development. Chairperson, today we honor his memory, not just through words of remembrance alone, but by advancing the work to which he dedicated himself. For Comrade Ntutugo understood that when we protect our environment, we protect our economy, our livelihoods, and the future of generations yet to come. Chair, there is nothing that is mentally taxing than listening to old people behaving like toddlers. If you have raised a toddler or toddlers, you know how draining their behavior is. One of them will spill the milk in the kitchen, and they'll pretend like Holy Spirit did it. These adults told us, come here and complain about the problems that they manufactured themselves when they were at the helm of national and provincial government. Honorable members, the African has consistently maintained that environmental sustainability is not a luxury to be pursued, but when resources are abundant, it is a developmental imperative. The National Development Plan, the Medium-Term Development Plan, and the ANC's own policy direction recognize that climate resilience, biodiversity conservation, and the just transition are fundamental to building an inclusive economy and a better life for all. It is therefore encouraging that Program 7 of Environmental Affairs received an allocation of 1.3 billion for the 26-27 financial year, with its baseline increasing over the medium-term expenditure framework. This demonstrates a continued commitment to environmental sustainability despite the prevailing fiscal constraints. The ANC chair welcomes the continued investment in biodiversity conservation, protected areas, environmental compliance, and climate change adaptation. We further welcome the department's investment in modernizing environmental governance through the development of standards for small forest plantations and the implementations of a virtual geographic information system database. These initiatives have the potential to strengthen environmental planning, improve compliance, monitoring, and support evidence-based decision-making. However, the ANC therefore supports continued investment on Ezemvelo as well. However, support must always be accompanied by accountability. The Portfolio Committee correctly noted that approximately 80% of Ezemvelo budget is derived from the provincial, and 96% of that subsidy is consumed by compensation of employees. Chairperson, climate adaptation is no longer a future aspiration or a future discussion. For KwaZulu-Natal, it is an urgent necessity. Our province continues to experience devastating floods, prolonged droughts, severe storms, and environmental degradation that threaten lives, infrastructure, agriculture, and economic activity. Therefore, it is important that our energies are also faced on this. Comrade Chair, Honorable Chairperson, my apologies. Comrade Ntutsuko Mahlaba once reminded us that communities are not merely beneficiaries of environmental policy. They are partners in building resilience, protecting natural resources, and advancing sustainable development. Today, as we continue his work, let us ensure that this budget gives practical expression to that vision. It is on that principle basis and in honor of his enduring legacy that the African National Congress supports this budget. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Honorable Mkhize for the contribution. We now call upon the Honorable Z.G. Ngobo of the MK for 10 minutes. Honorable Ngobo, over to you. Order, honorable members. You can raise it as a point of order if you want. And then we'll rule on the point of order, but I didn't hear it. So can we just bring the House back into order, honorable members? Okay, Honorable Ngobo.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Ngicela ukuthathelele uChief Whip we-MK Party uBC Mngadi ngikhuleke kuNgubondoni inkosi yaseMadungeni engekho phakathi kwethu. Sengithi angithathe nje leli thuba ke ngiqale ngikhumbuze abantu ukuthi the very same toddler that abakhuluma ngalo yile lenza ukuthi abanye beni bagcine beno 14% kule ndlu bengasaphelele. Honorable Chair, I rise today on behalf of Umkhonto weSizwe Party to debate the budget and reject vote for. This budget represents the failure of the current economic approach in KwaZulu-Natal. It represents a government that has become very good at producing documents, launching programs, making announcements, and celebrating small victories, but has failed to deliver the economic freedom that our people have been waiting for. Honorable Chair, year after year, we come to this
House and listened to beautiful written speeches about transformation, empowerment, township development, rural development, and job creation. When we leave this house and go back to our communities, the reality is different. Is a different story. The reality is that young people of KwaZulu-Natal are sitting at home. Graduates are becoming frustrated because education has not opened doors of opportunities. Women who are running small businesses are struggling because they do not receive meaningful support. Informal traders wake up every day uncertain whether they will make enough money to feed their families, and rural communities remain outside the economic mainstream. Honorable Chair, how many more young people must lose hope before this government understands that unemployment is not just a statistic? It is a crisis affecting families, communities, and future of our province. Honorable Chair, Black entrepreneurs have been invited to meetings but excluded from the real economic power. They are told to apply for fundings, but many are rejected because of complicated processes, lack of market access, and bureaucratic barriers. Abantu bakithi sebekhathele ukulinda, bakhathele ukuzithembisa iminyaka yonke kodwa impilo yabo ingashintshi. That is why we are seeing communities organizing themselves, marching and demanding answers. Honorable Chair, this department is allocated a budget of approximately 3.775 billion. A significant amount of this budget, approximately 2.459 billion, is transferred to public entities. What is the economic return of these billions? Thina sikhule emadolobheni amancane kunama-factory abeqasha inqwaba yabantu kodwa manje ayavalwa. eNewcastle u-ArcelorMittal uvaliwe. Escort, all big companies. It started with Masonite. Now Sasco mill has been shut down. Mili and Sasco flour. People of Umchezi are drowning in hunger. Imayini ko-Vryheid Dandi zavalwa and akubukeki nokuthi khona iplan lokulungisa le nkinga. Where are the new industries? Black industrialists were promised support. We were promised thriving township economies. We were promised thousands of sustainable jobs. Honorable Chair, a budget cannot be judged by how much money moves between government accounts. A successful budget must be judged by what happens in the lives of ordinary people. A successful budget is when an informal trader moves from surviving to growth. Spending money is not delivery. Accounting for money is not transformation. Honorable Chair, Conservation and Environmental Affairs mandate is biodiversity, climate change, waste management, air quality, and environmental impact compliance. Illegal sand mining on our rivers is a crisis. Waste dumping in township, air pollution in South Durban bases, and climate-driven floods have destroyed homes in 2022. 70% of environmental problems start at municipal level. Sewage spills, landfill fires, and unlicensed development. In eThekwini, we see raw sewage in rivers every winter. The department issues directives, but municipalities ignore them and there are no consequences. This budget does include wetlands rehabilitation, early warning system, and community-based conservation jobs. The department claims to create green jobs, but in area oversight reports, we only see 22 social entrepreneurs and only 6 researchers. There is nothing that talks about training or speakers, ecotourism guide, and restoring terms in every district. The green economy cannot be a line item, it must be a main item. As Emvelo remain heavily dependent on government subsidies, with approximately 80% of its budget coming from subsidy, while 96% of that subsidy is consumed by employees' cost. This leaves a serious question about infrastructure maintenance. Honorable Chair, as Emvelo is tasked with protecting our crown jewels, Shushuwe, Imfolozi, Mkhuze, Drakensberg, but this report shows an entity that is underfunded, understaffed, and losing the fight on the ground. The department speaks proudly about township and rural economic development, but oversight have shown serious weakness between what is written in reports and what communities experience. KwaSmith informal traders received infrastructural support. However, during oversights, concerns were raised by traders about whether the facility was properly designed around their actual need. Same traders continued operating outside because the facility did not fully respond to how access their businesses. The infrastructure that was built eMondlo, informal traders infrastructure support sekwaba indawo yokuphuzela utshwala ngenxa it was not handed over to beneficiaries and other structures are vandalized. Honorable Chair, this is a danger of a government that doesn't respect its people. A structure alone does not create economic empowerment. It means people must have dignity and independence. You cannot build a structure, cut a ribbon, take photographs, and declare victory while people inside are struggling. Honorable Chair, the Port of Durban is not just a harbor. It is the engine room of KZN's economy. Over 60% of South Africans contain cargo moves through this port. Thousands of jobs in Mkhanyakude, Ugu, Herigwala, and eThekwini depends on trucks moving. Ships berthing on goods clearing. Every hour, container sits in Durban, it costs man. Every day a ship awaits at Anchorage, it costs man. That cost is passed to manufacturers in Pietermaritzburg, to a farmer in Moiva, to retailers in Richards Bay. Honorable Chair, according to Port of Durban report, the engine is misfiring, and when the port coughs, KZN catches pneumonia. Honorable Chair, we must also speak about governance and accountability. We must also speak about in the same project, approximately 800,000 remained withheld because procurement irregularities were identified during the close-out process. Once again, we see a familiar pattern. Money is allocated, projects are announced, promises are made, but when questions are asked about implementation, governments start explaining failures. The unemployed cannot pay rent, buy school uniforms with government reports. Communities cannot build better lives with endless promises. People need delivery, they need results. Honorable Chair, the department celebrates achieving 99% expenditure, but we must challenge this narrow understanding of success. A government can spend 100% of its budget and still fail the people. You cannot tell the unemployed young people that the economy is improving while they remain locked outside the economy. You cannot tell small business that transformation is happening while entrepreneurs continue struggling to access funding, markets, and support. Honorable Chair, we also need to address tourism. Tourism is often described as a major economic drive in KwaZulu-Natal. Yes, our province has beautiful landscape. We have rich culture and heritage. We have communities with incredible stories, but questions remains: who benefits from this tourism? These often communities that own this culture, the history and the land become spectators while others benefit the economy. The Umkhonto weSizwe Party stands with the unemployed youth. We stand with struggling entrepreneurs. We stand with every person who makes up every morning, searching for an opportunity. The Umkhonto weSizwe Party in this house will not vote for this budget, and for these reasons, vote for, we are not voting for. I thank you.
Thank you for your contribution, Honorable Ngobo. We now call upon the Honorable Obi Kunene for 9 minutes as acting chair of chairs. Over to you, sir. Honorable Timande, 9 minutes are yours. Oh, the honorable members.
The Honorable Chairperson, the Honorable MEC, Honorable members of the Legislature, the HOD, the CFO, and officials of the Legislature. it is appropriate for me to say how devastated we were when we learned of the passing away of the Honorable Dr. Mahlaba. May his soul rest in peace. When people hear the words economic development, they often think about big projects, investment conferences, and government plans. But for most of people in KwaZulu-Natal, the economy is much simpler than that. It's about whether they can find work or whether their small business can survive. It is also about whether a young person has a chance to build a future without leaving home. Therefore, the question before us today is simple. Does this budget help us move closer to a province where most people can earn a living, support their families, and participate in the economy? The IFP believes that this budget does that. For far too long, economic growth in South Africa has been treated as something that happens in boardrooms, in reports, and in statistics. We are now saying that economic growth must mean something that ordinary people can feel. This budget speaks directly to the issues that matters most to the people of KwaZulu-Natal. At the time when many families continue to struggle with unemployment and the government cannot afford to stand still. That actively create opportunities, attract investment, support entrepreneurship, and build confidence in our economy. We have no doubt that this budget is going to do exactly that. The department has set itself a clear vision of creating a dynamic and resilient economy that promotes inclusive growth and tourism. A growing economy that creates jobs and a strong tourism sector that supports local businesses. Honorable Chairperson, one of the most encouraging aspects of this budget is its continued focus on supporting small businesses and emerging entrepreneurs. The department has already demonstrated what can be achieved when the support reaches the people. More than 16,000 small enterprise assistance through training, mentorship, incubation, support, and market access programs. These interventions contribute to the creation of more than 300,000 jobs. What is particularly important is that these programs are reaching township and rural areas. The establishment of detergent manufacturing centers in KwaMashu, Kamalake, Skaleni, and Mataten reveal a practical approach to local economic development. The bakery incubator and the support provided to clothing and textile enterprises further show that government is investing in productive economic activities that create sustainable livelihoods. The IP welcomes the continued emphasis on youth, women, and persons with disabilities. Economic inclusion cannot remain a slogan. It must translate into ownership, participation, and real opportunities. Honorable Chairperson, investment remains the lifeblood of economic growth. We therefore welcome the work done by the Trade and Investment KwaZulu-Natal, Dubai Trade Port, and the Richards Bay ITZ. The investment commitments facilitated through provincial investment promotion initiatives demonstrate that KwaZulu-Natal remains an active destination for business. The Provincial Investment Conference generated significant investment pledges with potential to support thousands of jobs in the years ahead. The continued expansion of the Dubai Trade Port, including warehouse developments, renewable energy projects, and new commercial tenants, strengthens our positions as a logistics and manufacturing hub. Likewise, it continues to attract large-scale investment because they help diversify our economy and create employment opportunities across multiple sectors. It is important that we realize trickle-down effect of investment directed at communities who live around these development zones. However, investment attraction must always be matched by implementation. Investors must experience a province that is efficient, responsive, and committed to reducing unnecessary obstacles to doing business. The department's efforts to improve business licensing systems and streamline processes are therefore appreciated. Tourism remains one of KwaZulu-Natal's greatest economic assets. Our province is blessed with world-class natural attractions, cultural heritage, wildlife resources, and coastline destinations. The department's focus on tourism infrastructure, community tourism, organizations, rural tourism projects, and tourism transformations deserve support. Projects such as the development of Emakosini Valley, the Watolo Caves initiatives, and the Howick Tourism Precinct have the potential to generate economic activity while preserving our heritage. There's a need to accelerate the support that the department provides to these long-standing projects. We also wish to express a concern or mention what we regard as a matter that we feel proposed should be attended to. That these small towns like Komoro, Msinga, Nongoma, and even Mutu itself, on month end, there's traffic congestion, which is an eyesore. Well, we wish to propose that the department should meet with the planners, development planners or town planners in these towns with a view to see what can be done to solve this particular problem in order to encourage investment into these towns and also allow for free and easy market access as you visit these towns. It would be good if the department could convene a meeting and find a way to assist these municipalities in resolving this problem. Honorable Chairperson, the department also oversees several strategic public entities that play a significant role in economic development. It is worth mentioning that the bulk of the budget of this department is transferred to these entities. The Honorable MEC said 68% of the 3.8 billion rand of this department goes to entities. The continued support provided by Itala Development to small business and cooperative is particularly we're concerned about the future of Itala Bank, whose future remains uncertain. We will propose that this matter the matter of Itala Bank remain in the agenda of the portfolio committee going forward, so that we continue to seek ways and means to save this entity and hear what the department plans to do in that regard. The IFP supports the budget. It is commendable that the portfolio committee meets entities of the department from time to time so that they will account on how the budget to them is spent. Because KwaZulu-Natal Growth Fund Agency's investment in transformational projects demonstrates how targeted funding can unlock economic opportunities and create jobs. The success of this budget will not be measured by the amount that we spend, but by the lives that we improve. In conclusion, Honorable Chairperson, this budget reflects a commitment to economic growth, investment attraction, tourism development, support for enterprises. We support the budget.
Thank you. Our time is up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We now call upon the Honorable Kim Zondi, MEC for Economic Development, Tourism, Environmental Affairs, for 19 minutes and 12 seconds.
The Chairperson, allow me my sincere appreciation of the Portfolio Committee for their reports, the honorable members who participated in this important budget vote debate. Let me also commend you, Honorable Chairperson, for the manner in which you handled the debate in this House. In particular, Honorable Chairperson, we would like to thank those honorable members who supported our budget vote. And we wish to thank all members from across all the political spectrum for their contributions, whether in support of the budget or through constructive criticism, as I pointed out earlier on. Robust debate is the cornerstone of our democracy, for it sharpens our thinking, it strengthens our accountability, and ultimately helps us to serve the people of KwaZulu-Natal better. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Mambaso, in his intervention, made some important points. For example, he said the budgetary allocation is largely pumped out to entities, thus leaving the department without any ability to do anything about that budget. Let me correct that notion. The entities of the department are the hands and feet of the department. They are not satellites outside of the department. And so the department implements through these specialist entities. The reason why they were established was to ensure that in each sector in which they play a role, we should not be hamstrung by the red tape that is attendant within the governmental departments. So that is why they were located outside, so that they can have the freedom to do that which the department needs to do in implementing its overall program. And so that is why the portfolio committee, we as felt that these entities needs to be brought in so that they are accountable and supervised more closely by the portfolio committees, precisely because they are part and parcel of the department. Honorable Ram Prakash, thank you very much for your intervention and yours, as well as the Honorable Zuma for your support. We want to thank the Honorable Ram Prakash for always raising the issues of air quality and issues that affect the poorest of the poor. We will continually be sensitive to those areas, particularly in ensuring that our biodiversity management is jacked up to be in line with that kind of sentiment that you expressed. The Honorable Zuma, we agree with you when you said that the KZN economy actually operates within the larger South African context. That is correct. KwaZulu-Natal is not an independent entity, and we do not desire to be independent out of the Republic of South Africa, but we want to contribute and grow the economy of the whole country. That is why we work in partnership with government departments at national level, because it's a partnership. We can't do it alone. So whatever I see, minerals, resources, and all other departments, agriculture nationally and so on, environmental departments nationally, we are partners, we are working hand in hand. What they do nationally impacts on us, and what we do contributes. That is the outlook. We are not to be some kind of a thing developing out. Investment, yes, must translate into real jobs. That is our real challenge. But we've made sure that of all the investments that have been announced, we've asked people outside of ourselves to go to those investors, evaluate them, so that we could have something that is evidence-based. How many jobs are going to emanate from the investments that we have been announced? That is why we were able to announce last year that over 60,000 permanent jobs are going to be created, and we are working hand in hand with the labor unions, and they are happy with those evaluations because they are involved and so on. Honorable Chair, while there may be differences in perspectives on how we achieve economic growth and development, I do believe that there is one objective that unites us all in this House. It is to create jobs, to reduce poverty, to grow our economy, and to restore hope to the people of this province. This budget is not a document of empty promises, but it is a program of implementation. It is a practical plan to take the economy to the people through investment, industrialization, tourism development, environmental sustainability, and support for the poorest of the poor through township and rural enterprises. We thank the intervention that was made by Honorable Skakane when he said the central question that remains are the programs that are aimed at improving the lives of the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Indeed, the programs of the department, Honorable Skakane, are geared to do just that. The need for job creation, yes. Actually, the central thrust of our department, apart from environmental management, is job creation, job creation, job creation, and job creation. Our responsibility as government is not simply to acknowledge challenges confronting our people, but to respond with practical interventions that actually deliver measurable outcomes. That is precisely what this budget seeks to do. That is why we also agree with the Honorable Lijet in her intervention, particularly when she identified the area of tourism and reminded us that domestic visitors have contributed a lot to KZN tourism. And we agree with the Honorable Lijet that eThekwini is the economic hub and the tourism hub of KZN. And so any setback that happens within the eThekwini municipality sets back our province. And therefore we remain over-engaged with the eThekwini, assisting them, because also apart from the decaying infrastructure, we also do realize that the floods that we experience in this province did a lot of damage, not only in eThekwini, but across the province. But we were happily thrilled. The South Coast, the Rainkonyeni municipality, right down to the South Coast, in spite of the damage that was suffered by an area such as Margate, they retained their blue status flag in spite of the devastation. It just shows that even if you are a small municipality, but as long as you are committed to doing the right thing, it can be done. And we work to achieve that one together with the Presidential Working Group on eThekwini. Hopefully that the blue flag status will be reattained in the city of Durban. Honorable Chair, some honorable members have suggested that the challenges of unemployment, poverty, and inequality are evidence that government is not doing enough. Let me say without hesitation that we recognize the seriousness of these challenges. We do not deny them, nor do we minimize their impact on our communities. Honorable Mbata, it is in this context that we understood your intervention, sir, when you said we do not measure the work of the department on the basis of good intentions. The economy must serve people realistically.
Honorable MEC, I'm just going to remind you that you address the member through me.
Thank you, I'm sorry, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Mbata also made an intervention saying that an economy that does not improve the lot of our people is no economy at all. We agree with you, the Honorable Mbata. I do want to say that within the context of the international community, because we are not an island on our own. What happens in the international community, whether we like it or not, impacts on us. What Trump is doing, whether we like it or not, impacts on us. The closure of the Hormuz Strait impacts on us. We can't get enough oil to run our economy. And so we're not responsible for it. And so we've got to be pragmatic about these things. And what happens, let me bring it closer to home. What happens in the broader South Africa impacts on us as the province of KwaZulu-Natal. So as long as we strike a careful balance as this province, we will be able to find our niche as the province, to be able to move our people out of the mire and the misery of poverty. The Honorable MEC Shinga, Honorable Chairperson, reminded us that tourism is the anchor and the pillar of our economy, not only in South Africa, but in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And that the programs that the department has got attest to the fact that we are positioning the province of KwaZulu-Natal to attract business and to expand our tourism offering. That's the best expression, Honorable Shinga. We are appreciating your intervention, for your intervention in as far as this is concerned. The Honorable Mkhize, thank you very much and through you, Chairperson, for reminding us that environmental management has been allocated the largest portion of our budget. It's for a particular reason. While we want to pursue economic development, we need to have a proper handle on our environmental management and biodiversity. It's not an either or. So they go hand in hand. So it is for that reason that biodiversity and nature conservation play a crucial part of what we are doing as the department. So they are not in contradiction or contradistinction to each other, but they work hand in hand, because as we promote economic development, it must not be at the expense of biodiversity conservation and environmental management, because we must remember we enjoy the world that we live in, the province, the beautiful province that we live in, and we must improve it and hand it over to future generations. That is our responsibility. The Honorable Ngobo reminded us and chastised us that factories are closing down. In the whole world, factories are closing down. The old mentality, look at the American economy. Look at the American economy. It's closed down. Factories from America have moved to China. They are no longer in America. How can we are a beginning economy, and therefore we need to recognize these things and understand where the world is moving. And therefore, our development, and in doing these things, We need to understand how the new economy functions and find our niche within that context. The Honorable Ngobo was quite right. The closure of ArcelorMittal in Newcastle is a devastating thing for our workers and for that city, for that town in particular, and the economy of that part of the province. But we are working day and night with national ministers, with private investors to ensure that not only the Newcastle economy, Glencoe, and all the northern KZN economy needs to grow so that we counterbalance the southern economy and the middle KZN economy. That way we shall have actually pursued what is expected of us to create a balanced development, because unfortunately, I've said this over and over again, that the economy of KZN, unfortunately, is skewed towards the southern part of KwaZulu-Natal. And yet you've got large populations in that part of the province who are flocking towards the city of Durban, and it is bursting on its seams. And so the more we counterbalance with these developmental initiatives, we will be doing ourselves a favor of ensuring that we have a balanced developmental outlook in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. In closing, while there is a painted picture of a province, the facts in reality tell a different story. One of the clearest indicators to host major international and national events. This is not by accident. We work hard at it. These events are not awarded by chance. They are secured because KwaZulu-Natal has demonstrated that it has the infrastructure, that it has the ability and capability and partnership to host events of global significance. That is why we are paying attention to actually wooing back even international airlines to come back and land at our King Shaka International Airport, so that we could have direct flights. Because unless we have that coming back to our shores, we will be bypassed by the other provinces such as the Western Cape. Honorable Chairperson, it was a pleasure participating in this debate, and I want to finally thank honorable members for the generosity of accolades that they gave to us and our staff members. I want to close by saying, indeed, economic transformation, Honorable Nene, is our urgent task. Economic transformation does not happen overnight. It requires consistent partnerships. Small towns, they fall under COGTA, and they hamper our ability to invest in them. But we work hand in hand to improve them so that they are not left behind. I think.
Thank you, MEC. Honorable members, order, honorable members, order. Honorable Mgadi, Honorable Mgadi, order, please. Order, Honorable Mgadi. Thank you very much, honorable members. Us to the end of the debate on vote 4. You have a blessed evening, and we shall see everybody again on Thursday. We are adjourned.
Brought in order of.
Thank you, Chair.
Can I try?
Thank you, Chair.
We raise our voice, they will raise their hands.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you,
saw in
Chair.
the house that Oh, there was a lot of towards the end.
Yeah. No, we can't have that, you know.
No.
But we are ready for them if they create problems. We are ready. So if the only problem is when Makubane is around.